Hey, this is Cory, and today we're going to be making Morrigan's yukata. A yukata is a Japanese robe. It's a little bit more casual than a kimono, and they tend to be made out of lighter fabrics. So for this cosplay, I'm going to be using cotton. And Morrigan wears her yukata very open, and you can see that the inside is lined in purple. So it's going to be fully lined, and for the outer portion I'm going to be using a very dark navy blue. I would recommend using either a dark blue or a dark purple for the outside of the yukata. When I was in the fabric store, I tried holding up different colors next to each other, and I found that using black and purple just tended to make it look very Halloween-y and just didn't really look right. So I definitely recommend using either a dark purple or a navy blue for that. For the pattern, I'm going to be using Simplicity 4080. This is for a costume, so I recognize that this is not the historically accurate way of making a yukata. If you want to make a yukata that's more historically accurate, I definitely would recommend going online, looking for some art blogs and some sewing books that'll tell you the correct way for making one. We're going to start by cutting out all of the lining pieces in purple. So cut out the back, front, and sleeve linings. Next we're going to just iron them again, make sure they keep nice and crisp, and to zigzag around the edges so that they don't fray. Next up is Morrigan's sleeves. So what we're going to do is cut out a sleeve in the navy blue fabric and then iron it and zigzag around the edges to keep them from fraying. Next we're going to make the bats. I'm using a, it's basically heat and bond, but it was a different name for it. It comes in a sheet, and you peel off the back, you put it on top of your fabric, you iron it down, draw on your design, cut them out, and then once you cut them out, you peel off the white backing, and you're left with this kind of sticky adhesive. So then you just place it on to your sleeve wherever you want it to go. I'm placing them close to the edge, but still leaving a little bit of space, because that way you don't need to have it go flush to the edge, because you're still going to be sewing over it and you're going to have a pretty large seam allowance from this pattern anyways. So that way you can save a little bit on thread and on fabric. And then to make it attach onto fabric, you just iron it down, and that will cause the adhesive to completely attach to the fabric. After you've ironed on your bats, you're going to set your sewing machine to a tight zigzag stitch. I ended up using a buttonhole stitch around the edge, and that tended to work pretty well. And then you're just going to go around the edge, and this is going to further anchor the bat onto the fabric and keep there from being any little bit of fraying bits at the edge, and just give a nice clean finish. Now it's time to assemble the sleeve. So lay out the sleeve pieces right sides together with the curved edge at the bottom, and then what you're going to do is, according to the pattern instructions, you're going to sew them together, and this is going to be the end of the sleeve, the hole where your hand comes out of the sleeve, and then you're going to make a little notch on either side at the end of your stitching, and then you're going to press it. Next, fold your sleeve so that the matching right sides are together, and sew along the bottom, up to the edge of the armhole, or handhole, I guess, and then down and along the bottom of the other sleeve. I assembled the rest of the sleeve according to the instructions that were enclosed with the pattern. To be completely honest, I found the pattern instructions pretty confusing, so I did not film that portion of it because a lot of it was trial and error, and I didn't want to confuse you guys, so hopefully you'll have better luck reading the instructions than I did. So, and then you just go ahead and do the same thing for the second sleeve. So now onto the rest of the garment. Cut out the outer main portion of the yukata out of your navy blue fabric, and then just like with the sleeves, zigzag around the edges and add on your bats. From here, really, you just follow the instructions that are included with the pattern. This is what it looks like up through step number 13. For the neckband, we're going to cut out the pieces just according to the pattern instructions, and then the same thing, press it, zigzag around it, and then sew on the bats. And then from there, just assemble it according to the instructions packaged with the pattern. Now we're going to make a waist tie to go with the yukata. I used the same pattern that was used for the neckband and cut a strip slightly shorter than the neckband when those two pieces are sewn together, and then just pressed it, zigzagged around it, and then you're going to fold it in half, hot dog style, and then you're going to sew all the way around, leaving a little gap in the middle, and that way you can turn it right side out. Next, turn the sash right side out through the little hole, and then press it flat, and then just sew the hole closed. And here is what the yukata looks like completed.